Hi, this is Sporty King, the master of listening, and I'm excited to be one of the 2020 Visionaries. We're six heart centered thought leaders and influencers based in the greater Charlotte area, excited to deliver our pandemic perspectives to help you keep it together while we're in this together, experiencing it differently. Today, I'll be talking to fellow visionary Ronnie Bryant. Cloud. Oh my, here we go. Hey, okay, we're back. And Ronnie, hey, as we continue our pandemic perspectives interviews, Ronnie, other than grow my afro, what do you think some adjustments that people need to be making right now?
No, we won't do haircut jokes because trust me, it's been a while.
Is that WILD?
You better know it. And you know, I don't see it getting any better soon. So
Uh,
what you see is what you get. You know.
mm,
So,
mm,
but
mm.
thank you. In terms of adjustments, um, I think really a lot within our lives have changed. But one of the things, Sporty, I would definitely like to spend a few minutes on is the seriousness of this virus
Mm.
and the impact it's having on individual families and individual lives.
Yes.
Just recently today, I received word that a member of my family um, who was on a ventilator and passed this morning, Easter Sunday morning, and it's getting close. And I would just hope that I say that we need to take this serious. We need to listen to our health officials and others when they recommend that we keep our distance away from others. We need to take it serious, the recommendation that we wash our hands and we use hand sanitizer. And and you stay home. Stay home if you can stay home.
Hmm.
But this is serious. And as much as we want to talk about what's it gonna be like when it's over, I just want as many of us to live to be around when it's over. And if we don't take it serious, if we don't heed the advice and the warnings that are coming our way, there will be a lot of us who will not be around.
Yeah, and it's not like you're coming up with rocket science. The basics are the baseline, and as somebody wants, well, we've heard that before, but we need to hear it again. We need to hear it again. So thank you. So please continue.
No, my privilege. This is serious business. Um, Making some significant adjustment, without a doubt. Me personally, in my business,
Hmm.
using a lot more virtual uh, interaction. Have where I'm in the training and coaching business, and where Zoom and other mediums were always important, it's even more important now. We are doing much larger groups now in terms of what would have been face to face, get on an airplane and go meet with the group. Now we're finding out we can make this work virtually. And we're finding out that you can be just as effective virtually. From a business perspective, not knowing how long this is going to last, my clients and others are beginning now to see, well, if this is the norm, if this separation is the norm, the majority of my people working from home, the majority of my people no longer travel, no longer having face-to-face interaction with clients. Well, if that's going to be the quote unquote new normal, well, I need to make it work where I can continue to operate a profitable business. And so we are making stay-at-home work. We're putting in controls now to ensure that you're getting the level of production out of someone at home that you would get in the office. And companies are finding out now that it is cost effective and downright cheaper, if you will, in an effort and to work this way. So we are forced to recognize these changes within some of our work environment. It's unfortunate the hit that the hospitality industry has taken, but I do believe you're going to see a reset in that industry. I don't think you're going to see the most significant return of air travel again. We're finding out, as I said earlier, it's not as necessary to get on an airplane as it was at one time.
Let me ask you something.
Go
I
ahead.
didn't cut you, but because on the stream you're on right now, flip that coin for me. How should people feel? Should they feel like they're shortchanging their companies right now in light of how you say, yes, companies are finding out that they make the adjustment and they can still get the same type of productivity. But how do I feel at home since I've never worked at home? Am I cheating my company?
No, I don't think you're cheating your company. I think you're making an adjustment too.
Okay.
Now, one of the most significant adjustments that is the fact that so many workers have children at home. That's a part of the equation that was not with us when telecommuting and working from home first started becoming a phenomenon. And I think, and hopefully you'll see some of that work itself out. But I think as an employee, you can learn to adjust to that working from home. And companies will develop ways of compensating you in ways of securing a space in your house that is a bona fide workspace.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a matter of making adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think, Sporty, we have a choice. If you believe that at some point in the next 30, 60, 90, even 120 days, we're just going to flip a switch and go back to where we were, no, sir. You're dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
These new environments that we're creating, we will have to learn how to function within them. And we're resilient. Believe me, we're very resilient. And we're going to figure it out. But you have to have an open mind towards figuring it out. I talk to some people who hate it and they're fighting against it and they want to
no avail.
Get back to the way it was. Well, I'm sorry, you're hurting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not believe you're going to see what we saw 3 months ago. It's going to be different.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, it really is a chance for new partnerships between employees and their companies. And as much as we're technology focused right now with how we're communicating, it requires still the personal touch because you now have to be able to come across through technology, like where you talked about, you have so many more meetings. Tell me, how does that meeting feel when there's no energy in the room? So, that's something people have to develop.
I was on a meeting on a call with one of my CEO clients just recently. As a matter of fact, Friday, and he told me that he's more communicative now.
See, mm-hmm.
He spends more time now with his employees than when they were in the office, and there was travel time between meetings and other things that disrupted the day. The actual work day in some cases has been simplified
mm-hmm.
because you're taking out travel time. You can, in some cases, you think about 4 months ago, the average day you average 5 meetings a day
Okay.
with travel time. You take out travel time between 9 and 5. It's easy to do 8 meetings,
Yes.
9 meetings, 10 meetings, depending on the length of the meeting,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't have to factor in travel time.
And you're getting a much more quality interaction as well as people prepare themselves.
I had the chairman of another board that I'm involved with in another meeting yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, the meetings are now shorter.
Mm-hmm.
They're more productive and shorter. Let's get to the point. We know what we've got to do here. Let's handle it and move on.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. But like I said, we're resilient.
Yeah.
We're innovators. And it's one thing to ask me if I want to do something when I have a choice. But when I don't have a choice, consider it done, baby.
Mm-hmm.
We win.
In fact, and speaking of resiliency, because we want people to understand, you shared a really wonderful thing with the group last week, where you talked about how this is an adjustment for you in that you are kind of new into the entrepreneurial field, and where you had a lot of support staff and everything, and now that ball has been changed. So you're not just someone who's saying, hey, you know what, you guys need to adjust. You're living that adjustment.
I am definitely living the adjustment. And I was having my own adjustment before this adjustment started. So I'm adjusting to the adjustment.
Which is affecting the way you adjust.
Exactly. So, and so this is a learning experience for me. And I tell my clients, don't think I got all the answers. And by no means, we're learning and experiencing this together, because each day brings a different challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Understand it, open your eyes to it, and figure out how we're going to deal with it. And get out of your head that this is just temporary. Let me put a Band-Aid on it and we'll move on. No.
Nope.
Treat it like it's permanent.
Mm-hmm.
And there will be vestige of this that we'll revert back to.
Yes.
Of our working environment. There will be some, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But you have to also seriously think about how comfortable or you or me, how comfortable are we if these stay in shelter requirements are lifted hypothetically May 31st?
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready June 1st to go into a crowded restaurant? Are you ready to go to a ball game and sit in a crowded stadium? Are you ready to stand in front of a group and present and then interact with the group like we as speakers do after the group, shaking hands? I don't think I am.
Mm-hmm. And that, and thank you for taking us there, because it's so important. Well, let me put two things on this. One, the adjustment I have to make as someone who's used to working at home is understanding that not everybody is so comfortable with that. And so now I zoom that right into what you're saying is that, we have to realize, am I ready to start running the next day? No. So it helps. I think you're helping listeners see there's another type of compassion and consciousness that we need to have as we deal with this, with the new normal, because it's change. It's something that we've done before. It's
Mhm.
just a matter of us reframing it and finding a way to make ourselves comfortable, because it will be here tomorrow. Just as quickly as it ends, it begins a new cycle.
Without a doubt. And I tell you, this adjustment, if you will, one of my biggest adjustments for working at home is munching, eating. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
muncher. Well, I actually, and I'm very fortunate, my office, this this is what you see behind me, is upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have personally banned food from upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And, that sounds simplistic, but it's serious
Yes.
because I spend the majority of my time up here. Therefore, I'm away from some very dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
And it's been to my benefit. But that's one adjustment of working at home.
Yeah.
And I purposely stop and take a lunch break and go downstairs. I don't work through. You have to discipline yourself.
Yeah.
But again, I'm adjusting because I have to. I hope others will adjust. One of the wild cards is definitely the school system and how young people will play into this.
Mm-hmm.
Some parents might even choose to do more homeschooling
Mm-hmm.
because now they are really having to monitor and be in charge of their kids in their online engagement. Well, if some of that online engagement continues from an academic perspective, and the parent now is going to continue to be at home, well, maybe I can keep my kid at home more
Mm-hmm.
and have more control over my kid's academic success.
Okay. Well,
That's another adjustment.
yeah, and I always like to end it on children adjustments because we're talking about the future here in the present. So I believe actually on our last interview, we ended with you giving a good word to the parents. Want to add anything to the parents?
Well, one thing I would say for some parents, I keep you in my prayer. I noticed on as we evolve into more and more Zoom meetings, I'm beginning to see more hyperactivity in the background from kids. And I think as this thing progresses, kids are becoming more and more and more restless. And it's understandable. And I think if parents are more diligent in making sure they add some structure and some sense of purpose to the day, and that it not just be a day.
Okay.
And kids have responsibilities in that structure.
Yes.
And bring about a sense it's got to be difficult. And again, I would hope that as we continue to evolve, it doesn't reach a point in some cases of total frustration, but we can turn it into a very productive engagement, and the parent gets what they want out of it, and the kids get what they want out of it.
All right. Well, thanks. You know what? We've gotten what we wanted out of you, Ronnie. Once again, thanks so much for bringing us your pandemic perspective because it gives us a lot more room to think, So please, even replay this interview, ladies and gentlemen, and find some of those nuggets as we talk about, the changes that Ronnie has had to make. He's not just offering a suggestion, what do you call it? Grabbing it out of the air. It's something that he's living. So thanks for doing that. All right. Look, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and recognize that as you continue to look for the calm options and the calm consideration of what we need to do to get through this pandemic, this pandemic, that we're glad that you continue to use the 2020 Visionaries. Please keep in touch with us. Look for us on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and put some comments in the box and anything that you'd like us to talk about that could help you. And if there's anything we've said that does help you, that we can, share that with other people, then we would definitely appreciate that. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the next Pandemic Perspective with the 2020 Visionaries. Thanks again, Ronnie.
Thank you.